The Breakfast Club, every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m.
Awesome song from 1985. Good morning to you. 27th of Feb 2021. Saturday. It is The Breakfast Club with Jay all the way till 10 a.m. And since the 5th of September, we've been bringing very interesting special guests to the show every Saturday. And it's been a long journey. It's been a great journey. And I've had the pleasure of speaking to some awesome individuals. And today's guest is Mr. Peter Fernando, who is the proprietor of the Australian College of Training in Hospitality. Okay, and he's lived in Australia for 20 years before he came to Sri Lanka. So he's giving that international exposure as well when it comes to the hospitality industry. And right now, yes, you might think the hospitality industry is not doing that great, right? Not only in Sri Lanka, but around the world. But there are opportunities still, and that is why Peter is here to talk about all of those opportunities. So make sure you keep it right here to E88.3 and join me and give a huge EFM welcome to Mr. Peter Fernando, who is in the studio with me right now. Good morning, Peter. Great to have you on the show.
Good morning, Jay, and thank you for inviting me today to your show here, the Breakfast Club show. And I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to all your listeners this morning.
Oh, thank you very much, and great to have you on the show as well. So Peter, we only have a limited time, so we need to get right down to business. So once again, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time from your busy schedule to come and have a chat with us. Let's start off with the institute itself. What is, for our listeners who don't know about Australian College of Training in Hospitality, what is this college all about?
So ACTH Institute, or the Australian College of Training in Hospitality, what we do is we train the youth for its skills development. Jay.
Right. Okay.
So basically when they come, they do a soft skills short course.
Yeah.
It's 1 month, and then we get them employment in the local industry initially.
Okay.
So basically what happens is these are Australian syllabus or Australian training package.
Yeah.
That's what we deliver in Sri Lanka.
Right.
So, and we have global partners who are involved.
Okay.
So it's certified by IOH, Institute of Hospitality UK,
Okay.
and McGraw Hill University USA.
Mm-hmm.
So we use their online portal to train students.
Oh wow. So basically, even though students get, they are learning in Sri Lanka, they get a lot of international exposure.
Exactly, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, right. So, well, you heard it from the man himself. So there is great opportunities here. So, but the next question is, Peter, hospitality. It's not doing that great these days. How would you grab a student's attention to join such a course?
And it's a great question, because at the moment, because of COVID, it's the hospitality industry is going through a tough time, Jay.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is, now at this moment, it's great for these youngsters to do a course, a skill course.
Yeah.
And then we get them a traineeship where we have other students who have graduated and they open cafes all over Sri Lanka.
Right.
So we get them that.
So they have the chance to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly right.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Okay, so you don't have to look at the hotel industry. You could look at starting something small.
Exactly right. Like
And-
a small cafe.
Yeah.
Right.
And get that experience
Exactly right.
and get the customers, and then maybe move on to bigger and better things.
That's correct. That's the pathway.
Okay. And but how is the response from students these days? I mean, after COVID, you mentioned off air that since April last year, things been a bit of an up and down situation.
Yeah, that's a great question, because prior to COVID, April last year, like you said, we had in-class training or classroom training, and we had a lot of students, every month enrolling.
Yeah.
But then COVID, that was the main disruptor in my,
Yeah.
my life and
Yeah.
this century.
Yeah.
And not only my business, all the businesses,
Yeah.
education providers, we just hit a big stumbling block.
Yeah.
And there was no students, enrolling for classroom training. So at that moment, I decided, I was thinking, okay, what should we do to move forward?
Yeah.
So that's where the online training came. So because I've been an online trainer for Australia Open Colleges.
Yeah,
So-
that's true, because online training in Sri Lanka is a bit of a new thing, but in foreign countries it's been happening for years.
Exactly, for 20 years I've been I've been an online trainer.
For 20 years, okay.
And last April, COVID I lost my job.
Yeah.
But I continued that in Sri Lanka.
Right.
So what I did was I took what we teach in class
Mm-hmm.
and I took it online to online platform.
Okay.
So
And so you took the physical class and made it online. But what about the practical side of things? I mean, people might have questions like, how does the practical side? Because hospitality, there's a lot of practical stuff to learn as well.
exactly, that's right. So the theory part we do it online, but the practical component they have to come to ACTH Institute.
Okay.
And we do the practicals, and then we put them in a traineeship.
Okay.
So in a local cafe, like you said,
Uh-huh.
and that's where our students come. Our past students who open cafes, they help us out. So we offer our new students a traineeship.
Okay. All right, brilliant. So, you know what, this is quite interesting. But before we move on to the next question, we have somebody who has sent a text. We have John who has sent a text saying, "Hi Jay, thanks for showcasing leaders that inspire our youth. They're looking forward to the interview." John, thank you so much. We got Chintaka who says, "Good morning Jay." Good morning to you too, Chintaka. And then we have Mayantha who says, "Hi, good morning. I'm Mayantha. Do you believe the future is online post-COVID?"
Yeah, that's a great question, Mayantha. So traditionally, what we know, Jay, when we went to school, grade 1 to grade 12,
Yeah.
in a classroom,
Yeah.
okay,
With like 30 students.
30 students, and those 30 students are from the local community or they travel from the suburbs.
Yeah.
Okay, I went to St. Benedict's, went to St. John's.
Yeah.
So grade 1 to grade 12, we have that student.
That batch only.
Yeah, that cohort. So then after that, we have basically we have the batch reunion and all. Still we are, that's our
Our clique.
Our clique. That's
Yeah.
correct. But the new normal post-COVID, the online, what happens is for training purposes. That's great because we have students from Maldives, from the Gulf, from Middle East interacting with our students in Sri Lanka.
Because it's an online
It's
platform.
an online platform.
Yeah.
And we use Zoom, we use Google Classroom, Skype Classroom, they're all connected.
Okay.
And it's
So they make friends internationally.
exactly right, different cultures.
Because they are batchmates. They are not physically together, but they are batchmates nevertheless.
Exactly right. So it's more, interactive, and our students get, open to new ways of doing things.
Yeah. Because they might learn about the other batchmates' culture,
exactly.
their backgrounds.
yeah,
Exactly.
you're right.
Excellent. That is
And,
interesting indeed.
Moving on from that
Yeah.
question, the next component for classroom training to we'll say the traditional training is a teacher-centric approach. So in the classroom we have in Sri Lanka from grade 1 to grade 12 we have the teacher. So it's one-dimensional. So what happens is the teacher they will have a syllabus,
Yeah.
and then there'll be a prescribed book
Yeah.
or some books, and they'll say, okay, go these topics you have to read and answer.
The parrot system.
Yeah, parrot system. And then these exercises you have to do, and then you come to your O-levels, or each year you have
Yeah.
a midterm and your final exam, then you come to your O-levels,
Yeah.
and then you do your A-levels. I'm not saying there's any issue there,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is now post-COVID, it's difficult to get those students into a classroom when there's safety issue, a health safety issue.
Right.
So that's where it should be learner-centric. So when I say learner-centric, Jay, what happens is you have your teacher, the teacher becomes, or the trainer becomes a facilitator
Okay.
who guides, who helps, who leads, who directs
Yeah.
the learner. So in the learner-centric, the learner is he's not been told what to do.
Yeah.
He's open to online where you have all the research papers, where you have your journals, so much knowledge, so much rich information there.
And it's open communication
It's
as
open
well.
source, yeah, open source.
Because in nowadays, because I remember when we were in school, we can't question the teacher too much.
Exactly.
Whatever she or he says is law.
Yeah.
But now students can question their lecturers, can be like, what if this happens? What if that happens?
Or they can go to YouTube. Like I tell my students, go to YouTube, and in YouTube you have so much information how to be a radio host show.
Yeah. Yeah. How to start your own radio station.
So it's so easy. Like
Yeah.
so you learn a lot
Yeah.
rather than that textbook that is prescribed.
Yeah, because now there's a lot more learning opportunities
Exactly, that's very good.
for students. Very, very, very interesting. So Aswin on the show as well. Aswin says, "Good morning, Jay. Enjoying the show. Great discussion. Thank you so much, Aswin. Great to have you on the show as well." What we're going to do is take a small break and come back and continue our conversation with Mr. Peter Fernando, who is the proprietor of Australian College of Training in Hospitality. If you do have a question, please do let him know. Let us know. 0773 336 336 is the number to WhatsApp. This is Jay on the Breakfast Club on EFM's Mega Weekends. Let's take a quick break. This is Jay on the show, and we are continuing our conversation with Mr. Peter Fernando, who is the proprietor of Australian College of Training in Hospitality. So let's continue our chat. And Maxine on the show saying, "Hi Jay, enjoying the discussion." Thank you so much, Maxine. So Peter, so we are continuing our conversation about online classrooms, skills training, and the learning point of view. So let's continue with that.
Yeah. So Jay, to continue with that, in the traditional, what we have been doing, the traditional method, for example, marketing.
Yeah.
We have TV media, right? TV, radio, and even the print media, newspaper.
Yeah.
If you're a small cafe in Cambodia, if you, on your show, if I place a radio ad, it will be very costly.
Yeah.
And if I'm based in Negombo, a small cafe, the whole country you're going to, on your radio, they will listen to you, right? Now, whereas online social media marketing, the difference is, if you advertise on Facebook, they tell you can pinpoint your locality.
Yeah.
So Negombo, the radius,
Right.
let's say 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. And you won't believe, you can spend $2 to $3 for a few days of advertising, rather than just on the TV, just that moment.
Yeah.
Or on your radio, that moment, that date, that time.
Yeah.
Newspaper on that day, after that.
Yeah, social media gives that wide range for try and get the word out.
That's correct. And also with social media, what you do is basically you can have your community, Facebook community.
Yeah.
And that's a way that you can get, a lot of, what you call chatter on your community. So you place for example, this radio show that, like the ad you sent, you did for us.
Yeah.
We put on our Facebook, on our community, and we saw a lot of response for student activity.
Nice. Which is excellent. And I think we have a question right now. Let's see what we have here. We got Ethan, who has sent a text from Canada, I believe. Who's saying, "What are the education pathways for graduates once they complete soft skill courses at ACTH?"
Yeah, so we have a Canadian program, a pathway program. So basically, study in Canada. So on our website also we have. So we have, in regards to Canada, we have migration agent who is a regulated Canadian immigration consultant in good standing order, and we can help with their student visas.
Okay.
So student needs to basically, the first step is to shortlist the college or university that best suits their academic profile and their study goals, a preferred program. So student will look for, they will do that part, the research. Then we will find the right school. If the student needs assistance, we will help them.
Okay. So all right. So you kind of look into those areas as well, which is great. So it's a wide range here. And Ethan, thank you for your question and opening that question as well, which is interesting. So what is you mentioned soft skills and all of that. What in this particular training program that you have, what are you training them when it comes to soft skills? What areas are you looking at?
So basically what we do is for the youngsters, for the youth, we train them on basically waiter training, bartender training, barista training, coffee.
Okay.
Food safety training. So these are just 1 month short courses.
Okay.
And then once they finish their course, we put them to a traineeship. So we do the practicals and then traineeship. And we encourage them, after their traineeship, because they pay very less in the region.
Yeah.
We encourage them to go overseas if it's possible
Okay.
and work in the Gulf or in the region, Maldives. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so you give that barrister training or bartender training, etc., so that they could they have that international exposure, because you're giving the training is very international, right?
Exactly right. It's basically the certification. It's a UK certification.
Yeah.
And we have USA, McGraw-Hill University, USA on this certificate, and it's Australian soft skills.
Okay.
So the training program.
Yeah.
So the students or the trainees, they get international, the knowledge, the skill set.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, and Peter, you were saying that you were in Australia for 20 years. So were you in the hospitality industry when you were in Australia?
yeah, I worked for Hilton, in 3 different countries, and I started from the bottom and went into sales and marketing, and in Sydney Hilton I was working there,
Okay.
and basically in operations, and then I was assistant manager also in Hilton, and I gained a lot of knowledge working for the Hilton chain, and that's what made me, or why I decided to move that to training, the hospitality training part, because I had the experience with.
Yeah, because you come with 20 years of experience and you have experience in different areas.
Yeah.
But what made you be like, looks like you had a solid career there. What made you feel like, I need to come to Sri Lanka and I'm going to start, a college?
Yes.
What made you come up with an idea like that?
So first of all, I encourage any entrepreneurs out there who want to be entrepreneurs. Basically, if you are looking to open any business, the first step is to get the local knowledge. So that's why I worked at CALM at Split initially, and then I worked at ACTH. Those are all education providers. So before I opened ACTH, I got the local, the knowledge. Working in Sri Lanka, working and the techniques of training, and our students, how they are receptive to some of the the methods that I use.
Yeah.
So that's important. And then from that experience, then I opened ACTH. And what I thought was, Jay, rather than coming up with my own training package or writing up a training package, it's best to get credible or international recognized associations or universities to get information from them, or for them to endorse our certification and to get access to their learning material, their portal. Because why, at the end of the day, Jay, employers, they look at who's on your certificate.
Yeah.
That's important. They can just do a Google search and go IOH Institute of Hospitality UK. And rather than ACTH, if I had my name on the certificate,
the weight is not
exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's what my thinking was that how can I get the student a job? Because these youngsters, we have to help them. If we don't, we will see high crime, we will see abuse, drug, alcohol abuse. So we need to skill the youth of this nation. That I'm passionate about.
Yeah, and since Sri Lanka is a tropical country, we have great hotels, restaurants, etc. And hopefully once COVID-19 calms down, more tourists will come, and therefore more opportunities will come out of it as well. But not only in Sri Lanka, but abroad also there's a lot of speaking about Australia, for example, because of shows like MasterChef Australia and all that, you get a lot of youngsters that want to get into the hospitality industry, or whether it's being a chef, whether it's being a bartender or waiter, etc. But how is the interest with the youth in your experience? Sri Lankan youth, are they really interested in learning, being a part of the hospitality industry?
What happens is, in regards to the youth, our Sri Lankan youth, they are going after, the money.
Yeah.
And our industry, we don't get paid much.
It takes time.
It takes time.
Yeah.
You need to go up right up
with experience.
Experience to management. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why initially they they need to get this skill.
Yeah.
And they need to get a traineeship, some experience behind their belt. And then they can go, what I recommend is, at the Gulf at least. Now our students, you won't believe, Jay, the barrister students, they're getting between 80,000 to 150,000 a month.
Wow.
That's what
That's in the Gulf, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we encourage them because otherwise if you get 25,000 a month, you get discouraged.
Yeah.
You think, why should I?
I mean, the hospitality industry is a lot of hard work.
Exactly.
Long hours.
Long hours, your feet are hurting.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
So the money aspect has to be there. Yeah.
So that's why we tell our students, okay, initially it will be hard.
Yeah.
And then make sure, you see look to opportunities overseas, in the region. Even Maldives, they pay okay.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Interesting. So we're going to continue our conversation with Peter Fernando right here on E88.3. You're checking out, of course, Breakfast Club with Jay on EFM's Mega Weekends. Time is 9:28. Good morning to you, and we are continuing our conversation with Mr. Peter Fernando, who is a proprietor of the Australian College of Training in Hospitality. So we have a question, Peter, from Sonali De Silva, who has sent a message saying, "Good morning, Jay, and good morning, Mr. Fernando. I heard you say that you encourage your students to go abroad for work opportunities. Why?" There are a few more questions, but the first one is, you encourage your students to go abroad for work opportunities. Why?
Sonali, thank you for this question that you sent. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, initially they need to get local experience. That is the best.
Yeah. You can't just go abroad.
Yeah, exactly. You can't get our certificate and say, look, good luck if you can get a job. But it's hard to get a job like that
without experience.
Yeah. So initially you need to work at least for 1 year in Sri Lanka, and then
try and apply. Okay. And what should the salary margins be for these trainees? So she's also asking.
So it depends on different countries. So for example, in Sri Lanka, a barrister probably will get something like 15 to 20,000 a month. But in Australia, a barrister will get about $35 per hour.
$35 an hour, okay.
So, and in the Gulf, like I said before, a trainee probably will get between 50 and 70,000 rupees a month.
Okay. And also she's asking, how do you make the mindset of your students to work in up and coming travel destinations?
So basically...
In Sri Lanka itself?
In Sri Lanka, okay. So it would have been easier to answer this question if it was pre-COVID-19.
Yeah.
Because Sri Lanka is a hotspot for tourism. But now, unfortunately, with COVID, post-COVID, we can see very less tourist activity in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So what I can basically, that's what I said, at this moment it's best for trainees or students or learners to get a traineeship, a skill, so, to get certified in a skill.
Yeah.
And then hopefully the vaccines will come into, that will help us.
Yeah.
And then again the tourism and travel industry will open up and we'll have a lot of activity.
And new opportunities.
New opportunities for sure.
Yeah.
So at this moment, Sonali, the travel destination, if you look at Sri Lanka as a destination, it's going through a tough time.
A bit of a tough patch, yes. So when, hopefully with the vaccine and everything, and if things calm down in the world and, classrooms get back on track, would your college be continuing online classes, or would you encourage them the physical classes?
We would go into a blended learning approach. So blended is Jay, because we have the practicals. So for the practicals, students will
have to be there.
Yeah. And then we will have the theory. Some of the components will be online.
Okay.
So probably for the testing, for the revision, I would like them to come in class.
Okay.
Then you have that one-to-one, because online, the revision and then the test, it's all online. And, they find it difficult because some of the students, they are from different parts of Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And they use the phone. They use their mobile phone, smartphone, to follow my classes, my lessons.
Yeah.
So, doing an online test for the first time on the phone, it's not easy.
It's not easy, yeah. Yeah. And Peter, we have another question. Let's see. We have, who is this? Number 3342, Tanya. Tanya is saying, hi, I just have a question to ask you, sir. Can you please tell me the factors that need to be considered for the online training to be successful?
Thank you, Tanya, for the question you asked. Yes, some of the factors to consider for online training is the trainer assessor should be certified. So Jay, now in Australia, I've been training and assessing my last part of my career. I've been doing that, and I got my teaching license.
Okay.
Training and assessing license. So it's valid for 10 years. So August 2020, it expired. I had to sit for exams online.
Yeah.
And for another 10 years, I got my teaching license.
Yeah.
So that's actually good, because what happens is you learn some of the new trends and techniques as a trainer. Otherwise, you had done 20 years ago your training.
Yeah.
And those methodology you're using currently.
Yeah.
So that's actually good. The next factor to consider is basically the awarding bodies. Like I said, on the certificate, they should be reputed. So international universities, associations, bodies. So we have UK and US, and we have TVEC, Tertiary Vocational Education Commission also. So NVQ level 3, they are accredited. So they're on the certificate. So then employers have faith.
Yeah. Because you're coming from a very recognized background.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And they know that these international bodies, they audit us, and they renew our memberships or they endorse our certificates every 3 years. So that assurance is there for the training, for the prospective training.
Yeah, and this college has been there for how long now, Peter?
Yeah, 2017 September.
Okay.
I started it. And we had only very few students.
Yeah.
I think I have on Facebook just 2 students when I started. You won't believe, Jay, consecutive years after that, we increased. Our numbers increased. And now we have every month 15 to 20 students in the short courses. And we have from different countries.
And how long are these courses? You said you have the short course for 1 month. Do you have longer courses as well?
What we do is we bundle. So basically food and beverage. We have the bartender, waiter, and the barista.
Okay.
So they can do those 3 courses, and then when they go, even in Sri Lanka, overseas, if there is a waiter opportunity, they can put that certificate forward and apply. If there is a barista opportunity, they can put that certificate forward and apply.
Yeah.
So that's what we have done. And then we have 4-month course. We have certificate in food and beverage, which is the NVQ accredited course, the TVEC.
Right.
So that's 4 months.
And what about the chef side of things?
We don't do the chef, those courses we don't do.
Okay.
We just do the soft skills.
Okay.
And also we have a supervisory and managerial skills for restaurant.
Okay.
And we have some students from the Gulf now listening, and they're doing.
Okay, so that means if they want to apply for restaurant manager, they can.
So what it means is they have, these students actually, they have completed our course, our short courses, they've gone to the Gulf and they worked for a few years.
Right.
And now they want to be promoted to be a supervisor.
Yes.
Some want to be a manager.
Okay.
So that's, so they have enrolled now and they are continuing that course. So that opportunity is there. So career development, the pathway for them.
And when you mention career development, very interesting, because career development, there is a notion that, in hospitality industry, career development, it's not easy. You don't get promoted within a year or two. You have to work for years. You have to put a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears. What is your advice for a student who is interested in hospitality but a little reluctant because of the career development? What can you tell maybe a potential student how they can build their career in the hospitality industry?
So what they can do is they need to do these courses.
Yeah.
They can do it online. They can do it in Sri Lanka now at ACTH.
Yeah.
And then they work in the industry. You have to work. You have to get some experience.
Yeah.
And then they continue their building on their skill. And that's why I said it's great if they can go somewhere, even to Singapore or Maldives or somewhere close by. And when they come back, then when they apply for a job here,
they have international experience.
Exactly right. So your pay rate goes up.
Because of the international experience, your pay rate might go up.
And your skill also, not only the pay rate. You have done, you keep on. So stop your studies. Don't do every time I tell my students, don't do just 1 month and say, look, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's why our students who come back, I said from overseas, online, from Gulf, and they're continuing their studies because they want to be promoted.
Yeah.
They don't want to be stuck in that same spot.
Yeah. They want to grow. Yeah.
They want to grow.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is take a small break and come back, and we'll ask Peter about some of the challenges he probably faced, trying to be an entrepreneur and starting a college and all that. So let's try and talk about those as well on the Breakfast Club. Time right now is 9:43. Good morning, this is Jay on the Breakfast Club on EFM's Mega Weekends. And my guest today is Mr. Peter Fernando, proprietor of Australian College of Training in Hospitality. So let's continue our conversation. And Peter, we have a question from Indica. Indica is saying, hello Peter, I'm a lecturer in travel and tourism. What qualifications do you have for students who want to qualify in travel and tourism as opposed to hospitality arm?
Indigo, thank you for this question. Now, at the moment, we don't have any travel and tourism courses at ACTH. But as we are expanding, like I told Jay, in the future, we will look at getting the travel and tourism component added.
Okay, right. So hopefully with more expansion, that will happen. Hopefully after COVID-19, with tourists coming into to Sri Lanka. So in the final few minutes, let's talk about Peter, because Peter, you of course you are the proprietor, but you are also you are basically an entrepreneur. You have your own college, so you have your own business. So I'm sure you face a lot of challenges also when you're starting your own business. So what are some of the challenges, or probably did you go through doubts whether you were like, whether will this work, or whether whether you will able to achieve your dreams and all of that, those doubts were going, or were you confident in starting your own business?
Okay, naturally, any business that you start up, you have your doubts, and a lot of people also will remind you about that probably it won't succeed.
Yeah.
Probably.
You
better do a full-time job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to make sure you look past that. Okay? And you need to see, okay, is there an opportunity in whatever business you're going to, put your hands on?
Yeah.
Any startup.
Yeah.
And I saw an opportunity because I saw the youth in Sri Lanka. They were, most of the courses were long term.
Okay.
So when I say long term, a diploma.
Maybe 6 months.
In Sri Lanka, 6 months or 1 year. So what I thought was, okay, you have to work, you have to study for 6 months or 1 year for your diploma. And then, what is the next step? Can they get a job after doing a diploma? Okay, the employer will say, look, diploma is way too high.
Yeah.
We can't afford you, for example. So then I thought, okay, soft skills or skill development, skills, and hospitality, because my background is hospitality, and short courses.
Right.
So 1 month, you give the skill set to the training, the learner, and you give them the practical component, and then you put them in a traineeship.
Yeah.
And that has been successful. So that was one. So you need to see the end.
Yes.
So you can't just start a business saying, okay, I have money, let me
start a business for the sake of starting.
That's right.
That's not the way, but you need to see yourself in the finish line.
Finish line as well.
Yeah.
So you need to see, okay, is there opportunity? Okay. And you need to see, okay, so like I said, I've been in Sri Lanka for 5 years now.
Yeah.
So you need to see, okay, is there opportunity? So the youth, what is lacking? Why can't they get a job? Like I said, we have students from Anuradhapura, Polannaruwa, all over Sri Lanka. So the end result is they want a job, they want some income.
Yeah.
So we can make that happen.
Okay.
So that's where we come in.
All right. And was that the motivation for you to start your own business as well?
That's correct.
To empower the youth?
To empower the youth.
Okay. And why hospitality though?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, my background was in hospitality. I did my master's, actually my degree, my master's, I've done overseas.
So your entire career
was
based on
hospitality. And I started at Hilton
Yeah.
in Sri Lanka, and then went to, I've been in Australia, Dubai, and so it's all hospitality. And I did my studies, my degree, my master's.
So as a youngster in St. Benedict's,
Yeah.
back then also were you interested in hospitality, or you wanted to get into the tourism industry, or basically the hospitality industry? Or this came, a little later?
A little later, once I've been to Australia, like you said, Australia, there is a lot of opportunity in hospitality.
Yeah.
So that's where I saw the opening for hospitality.
And so that's where the love for hospitality also came. Because you need to have love, because hospitality is not an easy job, because you spend
It's a passion.
a lot of hours, no holidays sometimes.
Exactly.
There's no such thing called Christmas or New Year's.
We worked right through.
Yeah. And so what motivated you? Don't have holidays, or you can't spend Christmas or New Year's, you're still working. So what made you, motivate you to go through all this?
So one great thing is if you pick a big chain like Hilton, I picked Hilton
Yeah.
in my career where I worked for most of them. So Hilton, they take care of you.
Yeah.
So they have their own culture, Hilton. And I say I'm a Hilton product, I tell the students. So with Hilton, what they do is once they also have a Hilton University online. So I made sure I did courses when I worked at Hilton.
Yeah.
I did a lot of the courses online.
Okay. Over there.
And then I was when there was opportunity overseas, I took that opportunity. Hilton, I went from Hilton Colombo to I went to Sydney Hilton to Dubai, Middle East. I was in Dubai.
Right.
Hilton Group. So you need to be in a good chain.
Yeah.
And they need to take care of you.
Yeah. So you need to try and create opportunities for yourself as well.
Exactly right. You can't wait for opportunities.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna give it to you.
No.
Yeah. No one's going to give those opportunities, but you need to try and create it yourself, which is very important. So, interestingly enough, just because you got a job, you didn't stop learning. You were continuing to learn.
I continue to learn.
And how important is that for young students also?
It is very, very important. You won't believe, Jay, last year and the year before, I've been doing online courses.
Yeah.
I don't stop.
Are you still learning?
I'm still learning.
Wow. Because just like, marketing or economics, certain theories and learning things, they change with time.
It's trending, it's changing.
Yeah.
You can't, like the concepts that we were taught
20 years ago
are
different.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
So you need to be adaptive to the change. And it's all online. You can, like I said, you can use these great apps online.
Yeah.
And you can educate yourself.
Right.
You can get so much rich knowledge there.
And yeah, that is truly interesting. So my final question would be, Peter, in your experience, and you've been in Sri Lanka also, and Sri Lanka has the potential to be it definitely is one of the best destinations for tourism and hospitality and all of that. After COVID-19, hopefully, when tourists come, what do you see the future of hospitality in Sri Lanka? What do you feel might be the case?
In this region, Sri Lanka is a hotspot for tourism because why? We have a beautiful island.
Yeah.
And not only me, like everyone you ask overseas, when I was in Australia, when I say I'm Sri Lankan, they'll say, wow, it's a really beautiful island.
Yeah.
And so this island, unfortunately, because of COVID, we were hit with a stumbling block. Otherwise, the tourism numbers, Jay, if you see the statistics, it has been increasing year to year.
Yeah.
So now, unfortunately, due to COVID, it has come to a standstill. But now, what we need to do is, like you said, the vaccines. So, hoping that the vaccines will do the job and we'll get back to our tourism and hospitality, one of the key income earners for Sri Lanka.
Absolutely. So let's hope that'll be the case. And before we go, we'll take one more minute to ask this final question. What is your advice now? That's basically Indika saying thank you, Dilki saying thank you, Jay and Peter, for an interesting dialogue today. What options do students have residing in the suburbs? Can they follow too?
Yeah, so that's why online we have opportunities for students who are in the suburbs, so regional students. They do their, like I said, they do their training through the phone, the mobile app. So we have a study app,
Yeah.
and they can connect.
They can connect like that. All right, brilliant. Ranjan, hope you had breakfast, Jay. Well, right after the show, I'm going to check it out, Ranjan. Thank you. We also have, this is Francis, who says, how can you stir up interest among the youth to join the hospitality courses?
That's thank you for that question. It's a good question. And so, how to stir up, post-COVID now? Because at the moment, the youth, they can't see any future.
Yeah.
Most areas are, there is a block at the moment because of COVID. But with the hospitality, we can hope, because there is cafes still, like I said, the domestic traveler. So the local tourists, they still frequent one of the cafes and
Restaurants, yeah.
So they need staff, skilled staff.
Yeah.
So that's where we can create interest.
And create opportunities. Yes, that's right. So, okay, so Peter, it is time for us to step out of the studio. But very quickly, if you can mention in a few seconds, what is your number one advice for the youth in Sri Lanka, or basically for youth who are interested in the hospitality industry? What's your advice?
So my advice is, at this moment, because of the COVID crisis, do these training courses, skill yourself, and be job ready.
Yeah.
When this opens out, when the tourists come, then you will get employed.
Because there will be a lot of doors opening.
A lot of doors opening.
Yeah.
And I would like to thank Jay for this opportunity, and also the other listeners out there, and FB, Facebook,
Thank you so much. Well, Peter, thank you so much for dropping by our studios and having a chat with us. It's been an interesting conversation indeed. Hope you had fun. I had a great time as well. So we're going to step out of the studio because it's that time now. Rick Dees is on the other side. So have yourself an amazing, amazing Saturday. I will catch you on Monday with Dilsha on The Rush. With that, Jay and Peter stepping out of the studio. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
The Breakfast Club, every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m.